Hello, we are the SpaceX fans and welcome to the SpaceX Show, a place where you can stay up to date with everything SpaceX. Lots of updates today, starting with a few SpaceX updates including the Starlink 6 launch and Falcon Heavy later this year. We also have a bunch of updates from Elon Musk, then the usual Boca Chica and Starship with SN4 and SN5, and we also have a bit of SN6. Let's head straight in and get up to date. Starting with Starlink 6, which launched on April 22nd at 7:30 PM UTC. The booster which launched this mission, B1051.4, successfully launched for the fourth time to deliver yet another 60 Starlink satellites into orbit. B1051 then proceeded to perform a successful fourth landing on the drone ship Of Course I Still Love You, unlike the last two Starlink missions where SpaceX lost the boosters.
Let's see. We have cheers. We have a rocket.
Musk tweeted after the launch and said there are now 420 operational Starlink satellites. Something notable about this launch is that it now makes Falcon 9 the most flown operational rocket in the US. According to this NASA spaceflight article, up until Starlink 6, the Atlas V rocket was the most flown with 83 flights since 2002. However, Wednesday marked Falcon 9's 84th flight, so incredible work by everybody at SpaceX. SpaceX frequently shows small clips like this image, and oftentimes people are curious as to what it is. This is the propellant in the liquid oxygen tank whilst in zero gravity. It's really cool that SpaceX shows this during some of their streams. According to this Space News article, SpaceX is asking the FCC for permission to operate its first generation Starlink satellites in a lower orbit. Reportedly, the company has received approval to operate 1,600 satellites at 550 km versus the originally proposed 1,200 km. Finally, for the SpaceX updates, we have some news related to Falcon Heavy. Millennium Space Systems, a Boeing company, has finished a smallsat called Tetra 1 which will launch on a Falcon Heavy mission. The press release by Millennium Space confirms that the mission, which is called AFS-PC-44, is scheduled to launch later in 2020. The last Falcon Heavy mission was STP-2, which launched all the way back in June 2019, so this is very exciting. We are now going to check out a bunch of tweets from Elon Musk, which mostly consists of Starlink info. Some of his tweets were about Starlink's reflectivity, starting with one which said, "We are taking some key steps to reduce satellite brightness, by the way. Should be much less noticeable during orbit raise by changing solar panel angle, and all sats get sunshades starting with launch 9. Later, there was another tweet providing more info on the sunshade, saying it's made of a special dark foam that's extremely radio transparent so as not to affect the phased array antennas. Looks a lot like a car sun visor. Musk was also asked about why some of the recent Starlink satellites have been brighter than usual, responding with solar panel angle during orbit raise or park. We are fixing it now. He has also confirmed what we already knew from a couple of episodes ago, which is that Tintin A and Tintin B, the original two demo satellites, are being deorbited. Elon Musk was also asked about what happened with the engine on the Starlink mission prior to Starlink 6. He responded with, "Small amount of isopropyl alcohol cleaning fluid was trapped in a sensor dead leg and ignited in flight." The final Starlink tweet, Elon Musk challenged anybody to try and hack Starlink and Tesla mothership. This was in response to an event where he'll be doing an AMA with Hack Club students. Next, let's take a quick look at a couple of Starship related tweets, starting with the 420 day that just passed. Musk responded to say how his day went with, "I'm in Boca Chica working on the rocket with an awesome team, so pretty great." Then, finally, he was also asked about fins and nose cone with header tanks, to which he said, "Definitely header tanks and nose cone with SN5, hopefully flaps too, definitely flaps on SN6. With all the recent tweets covered, let's jump into the action and head over to Boca Chica. We shall begin with the test stand, which as you can see here is almost ready for SN4 testing with loads of pipes, wires and fuel lines installed. Over at the construction yard, the new building is basically complete, or at least it is externally, with workers mainly just adding things to the roof now. Hopefully soon we might start seeing workers putting stuff inside the building which will potentially indicate what it might be used for. However, there are a whole bunch of sections and standalone rings sitting near to it, so it's possible that these could be waiting to be moved inside. Also in the yard, a beautiful raptor was spotted moving around, so not entirely sure where this is headed. I'm also not sure if this is a new Raptor arrival or one of the three which we saw previously in Boca Chica, but I'm unaware of any Raptor delivery, so probably the latter. Just before we move on to SN4 and SN5, I want to show you a couple of interesting things on Starship. Firstly, in my last video I didn't mention it but had assumed that the ring section we saw spinning was spinning for welding reasons. Somebody has commented on a question asking why it spins, to which somebody else has confirmed my assumption with, it welds the rings together to form stacks. The other thing I want to show you is a cool Starship timeline someone created. This chart gives a great perspective as to what has been accomplished so far and where the company is headed in future. Now onto SN4. As you can see here, engineers have spent a bit more time working on it to get it ready. However, then it was placed onto the roll lift and transported down the road to the test area. After which it was then obviously placed onto the test stand, as you can see here in this aerial shot posted by Elon Musk. There is also a new document from the FAA for space operations in Boca Chica. The document says that the space operations are permitted up to and including 1500 feet and scheduled for between April 25th and April 28th. Finally, let's see how SN5 is coming together as it's still progressing at pace. The upper bulkhead and rings for the methane tank appear to have been moved inside for further work. Engineers have continued to work on it and have installed what looks to be Tesla batteries like we've seen on other Starships, but I could be wrong. If they are installing the batteries, then I don't expect it will be long before we see it back outside for stacking. This leads me into my next point, which is that, as you can see here, the SN5 common bulkhead for the methane tank is outside. It was rolled outside and readied for the sleeving process with the rings, which you can see happening here. I want to show you a nice close-up view of this bulkhead, as I found some information as to what some of the markings mean. Somebody commented on a question about them based on their own research, and apparently the markings are quality assurance indicators. This SN5 section was also moved into the high bay, as you can see here. SN5 could start stacking whilst SN4 is still testing, and I think that would be incredible to see. Since there are now updates, here is the latest SN5 build diagram from Rafael Adami. That's pretty much all of the SN5 updates, so let's take a look at a few more rings before we finish up this episode, as well as a little SN6. Here is a stacked ring section that was recently moved in the yard over to the new building with the other rings that we saw earlier. Just quickly, something to add whilst getting ready to record this episode are some new bulkheads that were spotted. Also, a new nose cone has been spotted in an onion tent, so this could be for SN6 since we potentially already have a nose cone for SN5. So we have not only SN4 testing and SN5 production, but we also have the start of SN6. This is absolutely crazy. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to Mary Boca Chica girl, who spends hours capturing a wide variety of clips for the NASA Spaceflight YouTube channel. The only reason we get to witness these spectacular insights is thanks to you and your dedication. The final thank you goes to my subscribers. We have just hit 1,000 subs and the support has been phenomenal, so thanks to each and every one of you. That's it for this episode of the SpaceX Show. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and leave a comment down below. If you want to stay updated with SpaceX info, make sure to subscribe and press the bell icon to get notified when I upload. Thanks for watching and have a great day.